The year 2026 is shaping up to be one of the most fascinating times in recent memory, a year that many people believe will mark a true turning point in how humanity moves forward into the future. When we talk about the future, it is never just about predictions, it is about the ongoing shifts in technology, society, culture, and the way people live their daily lives. Every new year brings with it promises of innovation and transformation, but 2026 carries with it an energy that feels especially significant. As we stand in the middle of the decade, many of the projects, inventions, and ideas that began in earlier years are finally set to mature and change the world in visible ways. One of the biggest conversations around 2026 is the rapid advancement of artificial intelligence and automation. By this year, AI is no longer seen as just a tool or a novelty, it is expected to become a deeply integrated part of personal and professional life. Businesses across industries are embracing AI systems that can analyze vast amounts of data, predict consumer behavior, manage logistics, and even handle creative tasks. For ordinary people, AI is becoming a companion in daily living, whether it is through smart home devices that can anticipate needs, personalized assistants that can organize schedules, or language models that allow effortless communication across cultures. What makes 2026 so critical is the fact that this technology is no longer in its experimental phase, it is mainstream, widely accepted, and constantly being refined to align with human needs. The future of transportation in 2026 is equally compelling. Electric vehicles are now not just a choice but almost a standard in many parts of the world, as governments push harder towards sustainable energy. Charging infrastructure has expanded to the point where range anxiety is no longer the biggest concern for drivers. Alongside this shift, autonomous driving technology is progressing toward reliability, with more cities approving pilot programs for driverless taxis and public transportation. Urban areas are being redesigned to accommodate not just cars but electric scooters, e-bikes, and even flying taxis that promise to ease congestion. By 2026, the dream of vertical takeoff and landing aircraft for short commutes is beginning to take shape in real-world scenarios, and while not everyone has access to these innovations, their existence signals a dramatic change in how people think about travel. Energy and sustainability remain defining topics for 2026. Climate change has forced global leaders, corporations, and individuals to take responsibility in new ways. Solar, wind, and other renewable energy sources are more efficient than ever before, and nations are beginning to adopt green technologies at an accelerated rate. Carbon capture systems, smart grids, and clean hydrogen projects are no longer futuristic concepts but active projects powering cities and industries. The younger generation, often seen as the driving force of environmental change, has pushed governments and organizations to commit to deadlines for reducing emissions, and by 2026, many of those promises are under serious evaluation. It is a year of accountability, where people are asking whether those in power are doing enough to create a livable planet for the future. Healthcare in 2026 looks radically different compared to just a decade earlier. The combination of biotechnology, personalized medicine, and advanced diagnostics allows treatments to be tailored to individual genetic profiles. Wearable devices and implantable sensors monitor health conditions in real time, warning patients and doctors about potential risks before they become serious. Telemedicine is no longer a niche service but a dominant part of healthcare delivery, connecting patients to doctors across continents instantly. Advances in gene therapy and regenerative medicine hold promise for curing diseases once thought incurable. For many, 2026 represents hope in the fight against cancer, Alzheimer's, and other life-threatening illnesses, as clinical breakthroughs move closer to practical applications. Space exploration is another field where 2026 is set to be a landmark year. With multiple nations and private companies racing to the stars, humanity is closer than ever to establishing a permanent presence on the Moon and preparing for Mars missions. Space tourism is gradually becoming an industry rather than just a billionaire's hobby, offering short trips beyond Earth's atmosphere to those who can afford it. Satellites launched in unprecedented numbers are improving communication, climate monitoring, and even global internet access. The dream of becoming a multi-planetary species feels more tangible in 2026, and though it may still take decades before Mars colonies exist, the foundations being laid now are creating excitement and ambition unlike anything since the original space race. The cultural landscape of 2026 reflects how technology and society are evolving together. Entertainment is increasingly interactive, with virtual reality and augmented reality creating immersive worlds where people can socialize, learn, and play. The boundaries between physical and digital experiences are blurring, as concerts, films, and sporting events integrate digital elements that bring global audiences together in new ways. Education has transformed into a hybrid model where digital classrooms are just as important as physical ones, giving students access to knowledge and teachers across the world. Social media continues to evolve, but its role is under scrutiny as societies debate its influence on mental health, politics, and truth itself. Global politics in 2026 is complex, as nations navigate both collaboration and competition. The balance of power is shifting, with emerging economies gaining influence and traditional superpowers reassessing their roles. Trade, cybersecurity, and technology dominance are the key battlegrounds of diplomacy. Alliances are being tested as global crises demand unity while internal pressures push for isolation. Conflicts continue to shape regions, but there is also growing recognition that cooperation is essential in tackling shared challenges like climate change, pandemics, and energy security. What stands out in 2026 is the rise of younger leaders who bring fresh perspectives into governance, challenging old systems and pushing for innovation in policy. For the everyday individual, 2026 is a year where convenience and connection are central. Smart cities equipped with AI-driven infrastructure provide safer, more efficient living spaces. Homes are more intelligent, with appliances that communicate, adapt, and optimize energy usage. Education is more accessible, healthcare is more proactive, and entertainment is more engaging. But alongside all these advancements, people are also grappling with questions of identity, privacy, and purpose. As machines handle more tasks once reserved for humans, society is in deep discussion about what it means to live a meaningful life, how to define work, and how to preserve creativity in an automated world. Economically, 2026 is a year of both promise and uncertainty. On one hand, technological innovation is creating new industries, jobs, and opportunities. On the other hand, automation is disrupting traditional employment structures, forcing workers to adapt and reskill. The conversation around universal basic income and new forms of social safety nets is becoming louder, as governments seek ways to balance productivity with human well-being. Digital currencies and blockchain-based financial systems are more widely adopted, reshaping global finance and giving people new ways to save, invest, and trade. At the same time, concerns about economic inequality remain pressing, as not everyone has equal access to the benefits of this new age. Education in 2026 is no longer confined to the classroom. With digital platforms, immersive simulations, and AI tutors, learning is personalized to each student's pace and interests. People can acquire new skills faster, opening doors to careers that didn't exist a decade ago. This democratization of knowledge is one of the most powerful aspects of the modern era, breaking down barriers of geography, wealth, and background. At the same time, traditional educational institutions are rethinking their roles, blending real-world experiences with digital tools to prepare students for a rapidly changing workforce. The year 2026 is not just about progress but also about reflection. With so many changes happening simultaneously, humanity is asking deeper questions about ethics, morality, and responsibility. How much control should AI have over human decisions? How can privacy be protected in a world of constant surveillance and data collection? How can equality be ensured in a system where access to technology often determines opportunity? These questions are not easily answered, but they define the conversations of the time, shaping how societies set their priorities. Looking at the bigger picture, 2026 feels like a bridge year. It is not the end of the journey, but it is a point where the future begins to take clearer shape. The technologies and ideas once confined to imagination are now visible, tangible, and practical. People are beginning to adapt to a new normal where rapid change is expected rather than feared. While challenges remain, environmental crises, political tensions, economic imbalances, the spirit of innovation and resilience is driving humanity forward. The excitement of 2026 lies in the fact that it is not just about the next gadget, the next breakthrough, or the next milestone. It is about a collective realization that the choices made today will define the decades to come. It is about recognizing that we are living in a time of unprecedented opportunity and unprecedented responsibility. For some, it is a year of hope, for others, a year of anxiety. But for everyone, it is a year that will not pass unnoticed. As people look back on history, 2026 may well be remembered as a year when the world began to embrace its future fully, not cautiously but with ambition. The lessons learned in earlier years, the innovations nurtured over time, and the resilience built through crises are all converging in this moment. It is a year that invites humanity to step boldly into what comes next, armed with knowledge, technology, and the determination to make the world not just more advanced, but also more just, sustainable, and connected.